Hey everyone, ni hao. This is Megan Lee here again with China Universities. Today we're talking all things Chinese government scholarships. So you might not know it now, but there are dozens, in fact, maybe even more than that, hundreds of opportunities for you to study in China for free by getting a Chinese government scholarship. So before we dive into all of that, I do want to tell you a little bit about China Universities. So we are ChinaUniversities.com. We've been in the business of helping international students study in China for the last 12 years, and that has evolved quite significantly in recent years. We originally focused primarily on language programs, Mandarin immersion opportunities, whether short-term or long-term, and now we actually can help you find full degree programs abroad in China. So whether you are interested in your undergraduate degree or something like a master's or a PhD, we should be your number one go-to resource to find information about studying in China. So we know a ton about it, and we're super stoked to help you find the right opportunity for you. So if you're tuning in, you're probably already sold on the benefits of studying in China, but just to recap some of the main ones, Chinese universities have been growing in global rankings every year. In fact, I think Tsinghua and Beida are actually in the top 25 globally, which is really impressive, and that is just scratching the surface. There are a lot more Chinese institutions that are increasing their reputation around the world, and that has a lot to do with the fact that the Chinese government has actually spent and invested quite a bit of money in the last 2 decades to really develop world-class institutions. So you're looking at affordable programs, sometimes free if you get the scholarship. You're looking at high-tech labs and opportunities to learn and cutting-edge fashion, really cool technology. And what's more, you don't actually have to speak Chinese to get your full degree or your master's degree in China. In fact, there are a lot of opportunities to study in English. So for those who are worried that their Chinese level hasn't progressed past ni hao, there are lots of opportunities still for you. And no one can deny, actually, that China has a huge influence on the world economy today. So having that experience of understanding Chinese culture and living in China for an extended period of time will really set you apart in your future career prospects, which is really exciting. So now that you know like what makes studying in China great, I do also want to dive into the Chinese government scholarships. So Chinese government scholarships, let me just pull up my notes really quick. So the thing that's exciting about China is that it's actually one of the biggest funders for international studies. They offer what they call the Chinese Scholarship Council scholarships. So these are awarded to international students by the Chinese Scholarship Council. It's a lot to take in, but that's just a very high level. And then these individual scholarships and awards can help you study at a variety of institutions across China, whether you want to do that graduate level program or something undergrad or even something short term like a summer course. And the thing that's cool is that these are actually open every single year. So between December and end of March, you actually have the opportunity to apply for these scholarships through an online application system. Currently, there are 273 Chinese universities that are offering CSC scholarships. So that's like a lot to choose from, probably more than you can even fathom. And before you get overwhelmed, just know that like there are people out there like China Universities who want to help you find the right opportunity for you. So we can help you kind of navigate that noise. The other cool thing is that there are, I guess, 273 chances to win an award, because if you are willing to apply for multiple scholarships at multiple institutions, you'll actually increase your likelihood of winning the scholarship. In 2018 alone, 63,000 international students, more than 63,000 actually, received these Chinese government scholarships. So not only is it possible for you to win, it's really possible for you to win, which is awesome. Something to understand about Chinese government scholarships is that they're actually a variety of different types of scholarships within their umbrella of awards. So the biggest categories can be broken into Category A, Category B, and Category C. So for program Category A, you actually apply through your Chinese embassy or the Ministry of Education in your home country. So rather than necessarily choosing the institution and applying to the scholarship through that institution, you go to the embassy first. So this is called the bilateral program. Again, this is type A, and it has to do with applying through the embassy in your home country. The second category is category B. This is for the Chinese university program, and this kind of flips category A on its head. So you're actually applying through a Chinese university for a scholarship that you're then getting admission letters to and taking to the embassy. And then the last is category type C, which basically includes anything that is outside of the original categories A and B, which make up the predominant opportunities that you have. You can kind of think about this as the same scholarship with different angles. One is when the embassy is saying like this is a solid student, we want them in our country studying at an institution, and the other one is a university that's saying we want to work with this student specifically, please admit them to our country, embassy, etc. So even beyond those main categories, which have more to do with the approach to applications, there are a lot of different types of scholarships. I don't even know how to explain it, but there are actually 5 major categories within those categories. So these are the Chinese government scholarships. There are local government scholarships. So let's say you can get a scholarship through the city of Beijing to study in China rather than through the Chinese Ministry of Education. There are Confucius Institute scholarships. So if you're studying currently at an institution that has a Confucius Institute, then you probably know a lot more about the opportunities therein. There are school-specific scholarships. So maybe you really want to go to Jiaotong University in Shanghai, so you would apply for the Jiaotong University scholarship. There are enterprise scholarships, just a variety of opportunities out there. I can't even count how many. So for those that are feeling a little overwhelmed, I totally get it. As I was researching and putting this together, I was also like, damn, they got options. So that's good and a little scary. What else do you need to know about the scholarship? Well, the deadline to apply for fall programming is March 30th of this year. And even though that feels like kind of far in the distance, you actually want to make sure that you're giving yourself like 4 to 6 weeks to gather all the documents necessary when you're filling out your online application. So sometimes, depending on the program, you might need to submit a proposal for study or a health check or a background check. 48 hours from the deadline with a lot of documents to collect. So we definitely recommend getting started as soon as possible. The thing that is really exciting about Chinese government scholarships is that they basically fund your entire life in China. They cover just about anything. Expenses like tuition, accommodation, maybe your living expenses, either living on campus or a subsidized off-campus opportunity, insurance. There's definitely enough to go around, and you'll even oftentimes get a stipend to cover things like your daily expenses, food, extra dumplings, a night at the KTV, etc. So that's not every opportunity, but a lot of them do give you a big chunk of change. Another question that students often have about the Chinese government scholarship is whether or not they need to apply with a specific university in mind. So there's no quick and easy way to explain this, but yes and no, it does matter that you have an idea of where you want to study. So that's why we basically encourage you to find an online or a Chinese education consultant or coach like China universities, because we can help talk you through the different institutions and find one that's actually suitable for your goals and your budget and other things, like maybe you want to be in a big city versus a small city. But in general, you don't have to have an exact idea of where you want to go. We'll listen to you and take all your feedback, keep it in mind, and then be able to actually match you to different universities that fit your goals, which is great. Again, you can study in China in English. Where should you study? What are the best universities? It really depends on the subject that you're excited to dive deep into while you're abroad. So some of the best universities in China, such as Tsinghua and Beida, those are very popular, but they might not necessarily have the best program for your law degree or your MBA or a similar program. Another exciting thing about the scholarship is that it lasts for the full duration of your program, including the time off between semesters. So that means that you'll be able to legally live in China for up to 2 to 3 years, which will give you ample travel opportunities, certainly visiting neighboring Asian countries can be a little more exciting than maybe the place down the road from where you're living right now. And in fact, if you want to sweeten the deal a little more, you can even work while you're studying. There are rules, but in general, international students in Beijing and Shanghai can actually take part-time jobs or internships as long as it's approved by your academic institution. So not only could you be living and studying in China for free, but you could also be actually making additional income while you're there, which is a real resume booster and something we'd encourage anyone to pursue if they have the time and capacity while they're studying in China. And if you decided that, like, hey, you live in China, you're gonna try to become fairly fluent in Mandarin, that's awesome. And a lot of universities will actually throw in some Mandarin lessons for free while you're there. They're optional, so you can take it or leave it, but I found them to be really helpful when I was studying in China, for sure. So that's our broad overview of Chinese government scholarships. The main headlines are that there are a lot of different kinds out there. The deadline is coming up. It's March 30th, and it's typically the end of March every year. So that's always, if you're thinking about applying for admission in the next fall, then keep that in mind as your target date to fill out your application by. And within that, if you're feeling overwhelmed, China Universities is here to help consult you on what are some good institutions that match what you're looking for. We're happy to help walk you through that process because it can be overwhelming, and we do recommend giving yourself at least a month to prepare all of your documents before applying. So yeah, we're here. You can trust us to find the right university for you. We really look at all the criteria of what you're looking for and compare it to the universities and their ideal students, so we can really help you optimize your application for success and winning that free ride to China, which is so awesome. In fact, there are a few other ways that you can increase your chances of winning the Chinese government scholarships. And so we'd love for you to tune in next week when my colleague Dave will be going over some tried and true strategies to make sure that not only are you applying in time and with the right information, but that you're also increasing your chances of actually receiving the award, which crazily enough, they won't give you the outcome of until July when school starts in September. So it's quite the turnaround, but it's all part of the adventure, right? So we're China Universities. If you want additional coaching on applying for the Chinese government scholarship, check out our China University tour. We have one coming up in June that has a few spots available. And then we're also available via email or Facebook message right here, or at chinauniversities.com. We're happy to help in any way we can. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Bye.